Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this webinar about Belize, the emerging destination for sustainable study abroad. I am Polly Nash, reporter at The Pie, and I'm joined by Rondine, who just appeared. I'm joined by Rondine Petrov, CEO and founder of Toucan Education Programs, Melissa Lee, CEO and founder of the Green Program, Nia James, alumna of North Carolina A&T State University, and Irina Potokny, alumna of Penn State University. So thank you so much, panelists, all for being here. We're so excited to have you, Melissa and Rondine, and particularly also to have the students here with us today as well. And thank you, audience members, as well, for being here. So before passing over to each of the panelists who has a short presentation for everyone, I am just going to begin with some poll questions for the audience. And then we will hand over to the panelists, and we will also have time for some Q&A. So if you have any questions, please pop them in the Q&A tab that you should be able to see to the right of your screen if you click on the chat icon at the bottom. And then finally, the most exciting part about today is we have some time for a virtual networking mixer after the presentation. So do stick around for that, and you can have more time to talk to the panelists and other delegates. So without further ado, I'm going to start with our first poll question. That is... Oh, good. We've already got people answering. What do you hope to gain from attending this webinar? Learn about Belize as a study abroad destination, insights into sustainable travel, discovering new program opportunities, understanding how student development is supported in Belize, and exploring partnerships and collaborations, which seems to be the most popular one at the moment. So lots of you here to explore those partnerships. And additionally, how familiar are you with Belize as a study abroad destination? We've got answers coming in. 44% are very familiar, so that's good. And a lot more people here to learn more. So thank you. Please keep those answers coming. And meanwhile, let me hand over to Rondine for your part of the presentation.
Thank you so much, Polly. So I'd like to go ahead and first welcome everyone and thank them for taking time out of their busy schedules to be with us today. We're deeply grateful to the panelists and also to the participants who joined us. So we do have a presentation that we are going to share, and so I just would like to take that opportunity to share it. It will help guide the conversation. There we go. Here we go. We can go ahead and share. And as you can see on the screen today, one of the conversations that I'll be sharing is about the transformative power of community-integrated learning and looking at how that bridges the gap between students and communities when students engage in education abroad, or another term that is popularly used, study abroad, short-term programs in Belize, which is where both of our organization focus on. And so we'll start with the community integrated learning. And what does that mean from an organization perspective? How do we nurture sustainable relationship with our host communities? And how do we leverage that partnership to ensure that students are gaining a very rich experience? So as a locally based organization, Toucan Education Program is based in Belize. We're all Belizeans who work for Toucan, and Toucan was born out of a love of wanting to ensure students have a meaningful connection with the host communities that they work in, while having an experiential experience with the disciplines that they're engaged in at their home universities, and also producing something that is either tangible and intangible for the community partners that we work with. And so what we do, we leverage our deep understanding of our local communities, some of those nuances of cultural norms. We build trust with our local stakeholders. Um, and then we also look at prioritizing what are their needs. And we use this matching and mapping process for looking at what do students want to learn and gain from the experience, from an academic perspective, from personal and professional development perspective. And then we map and match that to ensure that we're able to tailor something specific that will work best for students. And whether or not we're working like partnership with the Green program and what their learning outcomes they want for students, or we're working directly with our students and higher education institutions, that is very much the process that we use. And so tailored experience that are looking at those academic and personal needs for the students and the outcomes of the partners. And so because we're looking at both the priority of partners, the priority of students, that seem to bring together a really enriching experience. We also look at the intercultural development of learning for students and what are the skills development, both from a lifelong learning for the students and how it's gonna be meaningful for their career that they're looking at. What are those career perspectives? The idea is to look at mutual benefits for everyone involved. And let me see how we can look at that. So what is the learning outcome for community integrated engagement for students? Our core principles, we work from the core principles of serve, learn, explore. And so that's for us is we want mutual benefit for both students and community partners. And so we look at how do we make sure that that happens. One of the things that our community partners like is that they know what their mission is all about. We work with many types of organizations, and they know what their mission is about, and they kind of look at how can students be integrated to support the delivery of their missions to the constituents that they're serving. And so through tailored experience, students have that opportunity to leverage those fresh ideas, what they're learning in the classroom. They're able to apply that. They're able to have an experiential experience of how the UN Sustainable Development Goals are applied to these different type of community integrated learning that they're involved in. In Belize, UN Sustainable Development Cooperation framework, there is a specific framework for English and Dutch-speaking Caribbean countries, and Belize is part of the Caribbean. And so students are able to gain that experiential experience on several UN Sustainable Development Goals. Belize is a young, developing island state in the Caribbean, and students have this wonderful opportunity to see development in action and be a part of that. They can look at Sustainable Development Goal number 3, number 8, 14, 15, 16, and many other Sustainable Development Goals. We look at, I believe, next we look at what that partnership looks like for students, and it offers them the opportunity to apply real world application, as I mentioned earlier. Students quite often look at the personal growth, and it's always lovely to hear how students have grown from that experience. Also, giving students those skills that employers want, and how does the community benefit. Those are very important things: new perspective, lasting impact, and certainly empowerment. I believe another topic I'm supposed to talk about is what makes Belize unique as a destination. When we look at the data from the US Open Doors report, we can see that both Latin America and the Caribbean in 2023, 2024, over 30,000 students studied abroad in these regions. And I believe for Belize specifically, some of what makes it a unique destination is certainly that blend of experiential learning coupled with cultural, historical, and ecological experiences that students can derive from their experiences in Belize. When you look at Belize from a historical and cultural perspective, first of all, we were once a British colony. That's why English is our first language in Belize and the national language spoken in Belize. But also in this part of the world, there's a rich ancient Maya civilization that they can certainly engage in. Belize is a multicultural society, even though Belize is small by scale, but it offers students a large impact that they can make. So students are able to engage in the history of the Maya civilization, which offers many different type of opportunities for them to learn, from actually visiting archaeological reserve and actually engaging with modern day Mayas, because the Maya communities are still here. So students have this opportunity to have a diverse cultural experience, as well as engage in different activities here. Some of the cultural landscape in Belize include mestizos, Creole, Garinagu, Middle Eastern, East Indian, Chinese, Mennonites, and other people who decide to make Belize their home. Um, in addition, Belize is home to the largest barrier reef in the Western Hemisphere and the second largest barrier reef in the world. So that gives students ample opportunities to get involved in many development initiatives, whether or not it's in conservation, marine conservation, ecological conservation, and different type of experiences. They have an opportunity to navigate the rainforests that we have, learn about wildlife and the importance of the diverse habitats that we have here. They have an opportunity to engage with indigenous communities. We have two indigenous groups of people, three distinct Maya groups with their own distinct languages that are indigenous to this part of the world, and also the Garinagu people who have been designated as indigenous to Belize. Belize is home to over 130 small islands called keys, and so students have many opportunities to engage in marine research. They can contribute to sustainable livelihoods and so forth. So community-based integrated learning offers students those ample opportunities for them to be at the forefront of development, whether or not it's through an experience such as supporting migration, because we're in a part of the world where migration happens a lot. Through our country, we've had students who've worked with the Migration Center and who have done other experiential experiences in Belize. This contributes to students' personal growth while they're also contributing to community development. So I'll end there because as you can hear, my dog is barking a lot. So I'll stop sharing. Um, yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rondine. Your dog is clearly as excited as all of us about studying in Belize. And yeah, I can't wait to hear some of those personal growth stories that you were talking about from Irina and Nia soon. But first, Melissa, can you please tell us more about the Green Program?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me here. I'm going to take a second to pop my slides on the screen, but I think there's a poll as well that everyone could jump into if they want to check that out, but while I'm loading the slides too. We'd love to learn a little bit more about your involvement so far with sustainability programming in your study abroad offices.
Yes, thank you for flagging that, Melissa. There's another ongoing poll in the chat that says, how does your institution currently incorporate sustainability into study abroad programming? And so far, the most frequently answer is sustainability components integrated into existing programs. But we've also got 20% planning to implement sustainability initiatives. So definitely lots of interest there.
Amazing, thank you. And it bought me time to get my slides up. So I appreciate everyone being here. Thank you to the PI and Toucan Education for inviting me in the Green Program to today's webinar. My name is Melissa Lee, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Green Program. I just want to take a few minutes to share a little bit more about our program in Belize in partnership with Toucan Education and how we've really been able to work and finesse the program over quite a few years to integrate community integrated learning. So at the Green Program, our mission is to empower future leaders to tackle our world's most pressing issues in sustainable development through experiential education, responsible travel, and adventure. We believe that education should extend beyond the classroom, engaging diverse students directly from the communities and environments that they aim to contribute to and make a positive impact. As a part of our educational model, we also prioritize the expertise and perspectives of local community members, empowering the voices of those who are actively engaged in climate and sustainability efforts within their own communities. I know Rondine spoke about the Open Doors report. To zoom out in terms of the tourism, of where is Belize on the map with tourism in general outside of study abroad, or including study abroad too, I should say. Belize is very rich in biodiversity, vibrant cultures, and sustainability efforts, which serves as an ideal backdrop for a transformative learning experience. With a 30% increase in year-over-year tourism growth between 2023 and 24, Belize's tourism figures represent the fastest growth of any destination in the Caribbean. Belize is also recognized as a conservation success story around the world. Recently, recently, Belize became the first country in the Americas to finalize a debt conversion for ocean conservation, allowing it to restructure approximately 523 million euros, which is about 550 million US dollars, of external debt, thereby enhancing its commitment to marine protection and reducing the national debt by 12%. So in the next 2 decades, Belize plans to invest about 171 million euros or 180 million US dollars in marine conservation, while committing to protect 30% of its ocean territory to enhance local economies and safeguard vital coastal resources for its population. So with the state of Belize in mind, the Green Program joined forces with Toucan Education programs a few years ago to create an intensive study abroad program in Belize. And our program is focused on sustainable action for coastal communities and ocean conservation. Our 10-day experiential education program combines hands-on learning with community engagement, taking students and professionals from various universities across the globe and immersing them in local initiatives addressing SDG number 13, climate action, number 14, life on land, and 15, life below water. Throughout our program, students participate in real-world projects that focus on sustainable aquaculture and ocean conservation practices. This not only equips them with practical skills, but also fosters a deep understanding of the local context and challenges. The program's pedagogy is centered around community integrated learning, where students learn from local Belizean experts and contribute to their sustainability initiatives too. So by engaging with local leaders and environmentalists, students gain diverse perspectives and a sense of agency that broadens their understanding of sustainability. As a part of this model, the program features a speaker series with industry experts leading local community-based projects. Topics covered on these speaker series include ocean conservation, coral reef restoration, the relationship between land and marine ecosystems, and also social entrepreneurship. In addition to the speaker series, our students will conduct fieldwork with local community organizations, participate in citizen science projects, learn about marine ecology, and support the conservation efforts of organizations such as the Belize Women's Seaweed Farmers Association. And you can see this photo here is one of our last cohorts that were out with the seaweed. If you look closely, there's a whole line of seaweed. These incredible farmers. Throughout the program, students will also work on an interdisciplinary capstone project that provides an innovative solution to a real-world challenge, considering stakeholder engagement and economic, environmental, and social impact. The overall experience aims to cultivate global citizenship, encouraging students to think critically about their role in the world and how they can make a positive difference, not just in Belize, but globally too. Over the years, we've seen 95% of TGP students experience a sustainability-related shift with an increase in awareness and consciousness of personal impacts, exchange, and expertise in sustainability issues. The exposure to real-world examples, foreign cultures, and the exchange between students, professionals, and experts had the most significant impact on the participants and their local experiences. Of the alumni who decided to change their studies to a different field after their program participation, 74% switched to a program related to sustainability, and 50% of our alumni are already working in the field of sustainability and therefore contributing to important developments on a daily basis. And this was all done by a study by Uppsala University. In closing, and I'm happy to answer questions soon too, Belize is a unique opportunity for educators and students alike to engage deeply with sustainability education and community integrated learning. By integrating community learning with practical applications, we are equipping the next generation of global sustainability experiences and uplifting the local communities we work with. Our next opportunity to join the Green Program and Toucan programs in Belize is actually coming up in March in 2025, and I invite you all to consider how your institutions can work with us to create meaningful learning experiences in Belize. You can contact me with the information here and learn more about our program coming up on our website, which is right on this slide, but please feel free to connect and happy to chat more with everybody in the networking portion too. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Melissa. And yeah, we hear so much that increasingly students are ranking sustainability among one of their top concerns when choosing study abroad destinations. So thank you. That commitment to conservation, I think, is really, really important. And to hear more from them, let's come to you, Nia. If you don't mind, please talking about your personal experiences of studying in Belize. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. So, hello everyone. My name is Nia James. I participated in a Belize study abroad trip in 2019, December 2019. I had just graduated from college and I was entering my graduate program, and I had the honor to be selected to participate in a 2-week program partnership with North Carolina A&T and the Toucan education program of Belize. And through this program, we got to learn about community development, sustainable economic development. It really focused on a macroeconomic level, as well as looking at the community levels within Belize. Another thing is we focus on the agricultural sector in Belize. So I had the opportunity to, participate in activities with the local farmers. We had the opportunity to visit the local schools and teach them about, germs and important dental hygiene. So it was an amazing experience. And not only that, but I had the honor to be taught by Dr. Yolanda Mexican, who is a distinguished economist, and she really, really inspired me to really want to pursue economics as a career. And really after that program, I finished my master's degree and I was able to pursue my dream of becoming an economist. So now I'm working as an economist for the federal government, and I'm very appreciative that I had the opportunity to study abroad in Belize.
Wow. Well, I think I just want to say congratulations, probably on behalf of everyone. And it's amazing that your experience in Belize, really had that long-lasting impact on your career and what you're doing now. So thank you for sharing. And Irina, coming to you now.
Hi, I'm Irina Potocny, and I studied abroad in Belize this past spring with the Green Program. I'm a third-year material science and engineering student in my undergrad at Penn State. And I wanted to go on this trip because I really enjoyed snorkeling, and this trip was focused on life below water. Um, and on the first day we got there, we were sent out on a scavenger hunt, but it was just around the town of Placencia. And we had to um, find out different things like what the name of their football stadium is called and what team plays there and where you can buy lionfish jewelry. And so we had to just run around the town talking to locals. This experience really put me out of my comfort zone a little bit, but made me feel welcomed in the community because everyone we interacted with was so nice. And this helped helped me to speak with the locals about their efforts in conservation and in regards to ocean conservation. And on the first day we were there, um, we also did a activity where you go to one side if you agree and one side if you disagree. And the statement that was said was, can individual action make a difference in climate change? And I, out of the group, was the most disagreed. But this trip with the Green Program completely changed my perspective because we worked with women in the Belizean Women's Seaweed Farmers Association and helped them to plant seaweed and do an ecological survey of their seaweed plots. And we also learned about another organization, Foundations of Hope, which is planting bleach-resistant corals around the reefs in Belize. And these women really inspired me and taught me that collective individual action can make a difference in climate change. And I was so happy to be able to learn that and experience that, and also carry that with me when I came back to Penn State.
Thank you so much, Irina. Wow, I didn't know that bleach resilient coral reefs existed. That's really amazing, and I really like that anecdote about the power of individual action. I have lots of questions for the panel, but maybe actually starting with you, Irina. Can you give us any examples of what individual actions you've taken to help climate change since your trip?
Yeah, so at the end of the trip, we presented a capstone project, and that process of creating that really stuck with me. It was first we had to find our why and understand what we were doing and why we were doing it. So when I came back from Belize, I knew that I wanted to keep up that momentum from that project. And so I'm minoring in sustainability leadership. And last summer, I did my capstone project for that minor, and it was a project called Conscious Couture, a sustainable fashion show. So I created 8 different upcycled looks, and also they were upcycled, thrifted, and I even grew some biomaterial out of SCOBY, which is what is used to ferment kombucha. So I really appreciated the capstone project that we did in Belize. Taught me the process of just taking action and starting something, which I felt like I always had that mental barrier beforehand. So it really helped me to develop my fashion show and understand my why and the presentation skills as well.
Thank you so much. I mean, you're definitely displaying those skills today.
Thank you.
And to come to you, Nia, did you have any experiences of cultural adjustment? Were there any barriers that you had to overcome?
Yes, for sure. Before we even studied abroad, we had to take a pre-course just to prepare ourselves for our trip. And I just remember them telling us about the importance of sunscreen and being hydrated. And it didn't really hit me until we actually landed. The flight had landed and they turned off the AC and it was extremely hot. And so honestly, just realizing that I'm gonna have to do this 2-week economic course and really have to dig down and build network with students that I didn't really know as well. But after that 2-week course, we became so close, and I got to learn, like, get to connect with them on a personal level. So that was one barrier, like just traveling with people I wasn't familiar with, and then it being extremely hot, and just like being intentional about drinking water and, and staying healthy. So that was probably like the biggest barrier, was just the heat.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. And Rondine, to jump back to you, you talked a lot about the positive changes of these programs within Belizean communities. Can you share some success stories about how the programs have benefited local communities?
Yes, the programs. I'll start with Mia's. She was enrolled in our sustainable economic and community development, and that is looking at the nexus of how do you sustainably develop a community while ensuring that there is equitable um, opportunities for people to engage in work. Many in Belize, we have probably about 30% of our communities um, members who live under the poverty line. And so Dr. Medskin, who's lived in over 100 countries and has done a lot of work in reducing poverty, she's also trying to do that in the community that the program runs. It's a rural community, rural migrants settled community. And so hence the reason why we bring, of course, we engage with community partners to find out what are their needs. So that's the first step, because we want to make sure it's not our ideas, but it's theirs. And so things like general hygiene, like what Nia was engaged in, teaching young children how to maintain wellness from all levels, and like simple things like how to properly wash your hands, brush your teeth. That might seem very insignificant, but it's quite insignificant to small developing countries, and especially migrant settled communities. Um, so those things make a difference in our communities. Other things that makes a difference in our communities that students engage in is we've had students work with the migration center. We do have a migration center here, and some of it is to empower migrants to know their rights, to ensure that they're not taken advantage of. And so students are able to build information. They're actually able to go and present those information in very, very rural areas. Um, and so that's how we're empowering communities. We also have a reforestation program. And so for us, our reforestation focus on degraded areas in national protected areas, along rivers and in communities. And so we partner with an influential sustainable conservation organization. And so they're the ones who identify where we'll plant, make sure that the trees are native, and then go out and do the reforestation. We also support high school students who in Belize who are unable to obtain a high school diploma. So some of our partners, because our programs are built on reciprocity, so whoever partners with us, we go back to them and we say, do you know someone who can benefit from a scholarship? They identify the student, and then we support the student. And one of our community partners said, the student that we've selected have had generational poverty, and this scholarship has the opportunity to change this, because this would be the first child for generations that ever had a high school diploma. So that's the way we, in addition to what students are doing, students are actually contributing to real information and real situations where they're supporting the organization. I don't want to speak of what the Green Program does, because I want to give Melissa an opportunity to do that. But this is done across all the community partners we work with, whether or not it's migration, whether or not we're working with a school, Another success story is we had some students, we offer international service learning. These students did the retrofitting of classrooms. And so 6 months later, when we checked in with the principal of the classroom, she said, I know those students thought that all they did was painting. They have no idea how they change the behavior of our students. She said, now our students ensure that that classroom is spotless. Before it was a problem because it was just concrete walls. We also changed, the students were also able to change from chalkboard to boards where you're just using and you don't create dust. And she said, and then the community comes and say, oh, you have a really nice classroom. Can we rent it for meetings? Can we do different things in the classroom? So she said, please let them know that it wasn't just painting, but they're really changing lives by beautifying a space that was just concrete walls, had made a difference in our students' behavior and how the community engaged with us. So those are some little bit of stories that we can share.
Thank you. Yeah, that must have been such lovely feedback. And I'm sure our audience will have questions during the mixer to ask you more about that. But just finally, I want to come to you, Melissa, with one more question. Just about looking ahead for the future of the Green Programme. What are your goals for expanding your reach in Belize and potentially other regions in terms of sustainability education?
Yeah, well, first of all, we're so grateful for our partnership with Rondine and her team at Toucan Education Programs. And as you can tell, those of you listening in, it's so valuable to have local partners on the ground who truly not just are there to deliver an experience or service, but are there long-term with and a part of the community. And she truly sees how these sorts of programs can help communities grow and blossom through the economy, through sustainability, through education, you name it. So just grateful for that. And I think for us, Belize is still new for the Green Program, and we're so excited to continue exploring. We are a very grassroots organization, so we believe in taking a grassroots approach and building intentional relationships with our partners and community organizations who are on the ground doing the work in climate, and taking the time to educate, students coming from all over the world, and hopefully we're able to contribute some more back as well to the work that they're doing, whether it's through the research that the students are doing to contribute back to their data, or just through sustainable tourism and sustainable travel practices as well to support the economy too. Zooming out, I think Green Program, we have programs in different places around the world as well, but we are expanding to the professional sector as well, offering global sustainability education to university faculty, institutions, and corporations. And this idea is really just coming from the idea that we truly want to make a difference. We need to start getting multi-generational people involved and taking a multi-generational approach in sustainability education. So that's a new piece that the Green Program has been working on the past few years, and excited to continue that with our work in Belize as well.
Thank you, Melissa. And now that we've heard from all of the panelists, we have time to jump into our virtual networking room. So if everyone can just make sure their cameras are on, and you'll see a room with lots of tables, and you can move tables just by clicking on a little chair icon and just pressing the button to join table. So I will see you all in the mixer.